Women's Day, all of you. What an incredible event. Thank you so much for putting together such an amazing event, Swati. And Swati's passion and belief for why she is doing what she's doing is inspiring, and it's also infectious. I think everybody at some level can connect to what she's doing. And all the amazing speakers on stage today, oh my God, I am just so inspired. And Mayor Laura Hill, I've heard you speak many times before. Every time I get something new, every time I'm inspired more. And I love living in South Lake, and you are one of the reasons for why I love that city. Thank you for making that place the way it is. And our other speakers, Harveer spoke about the top-down leadership. I work for an automotive company. I work for General Motors, and I'm in a leadership role. I don't love cars as much as all the men in the automotive industry love the cars. I love my handbags a little more than my cars, but that does make moving up the ladder very, very challenging. And I loved his approach of top-down versus bottom-up, because that is something that is definitely in need in today's world. And Sheila Murthy, I heard her speak, I want to say, 3-4 years back at one of the IT Serve events. And I remember telling my husband after that, oh my God, she's such an authentic speaker. I could really connect to her because I come from a family where we are 2 girls, and my dad heard exactly the same thing throughout his life. And my dad gave up hopes. He's like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to wait for my daughters to have sons. And guess what? I have 2 daughters, and my daughter's like, what? Okay, I'm going to wait for my younger daughter to see if she's going to have a son. And she did. And then he felt his life was successful. I'm like, what, really? So I understand the world that she comes from, and I can relate to that. And her authentic way of speaking really caught me then, and it caught me now. And I ordered her book, Being Sheila, and I can't wait to read it. It's out of stock, and I don't think I'm going to get it till March 22nd, and I would love to hear her thoughts through her book. And Diana, Think Like a Man is a beautiful way of how you gave those examples. And I always say this to all the people that I've come across too, we do need to start thinking like men. I mean, the way men think and act in terms of job market, in terms of leadership, it's not that you need to give up on your women leadership, but the way they think is also equally important. Men come from Mars and women come from Venus. So we don't have to start becoming someone who thinks like we come from Mars. We do need to think like we come from Venus, but do have to understand the perspective of where men come from and why they react certain way in a job market. And that is definitely going to be beneficial. Thank you. Thanks to all the speakers. And now I am honored to introduce Mimi, and I've heard you talk many times too. You are another amazing, inspiring leader, and I'm honored to be here on the stage to introduce you. I think I'm going to read this. Am I supposed to read that? No. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I have to say I'm a little scared because every speaker that's been up here has been so amazing. So I'm so blessed and humble to be in front of everyone here to talk a little bit about being selfish. So be selfish. You might ask, why am I really talking about being selfish? Many times in today's world, most women are selfless. They worry about everything and everyone, but never about themselves. My take is you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of others. So on a typical day, what's your schedule like? You have to get up early to wake up the kids, make breakfast, take care of your husband, get his coffee, and then you have to get dressed and get the kids out, and then you get to go to work. So you do this, and then you have to do, and then in the evening, you're rushed home to make dinner, help kids with homework, and then do a load of laundry, and get the dishes done, and then possibly have to finish work because you didn't get it done during the workday. Then, crash after midnight, tired as a dog. Repeating it over and over and over again, day after day. What's the number one thing women and men alike, because I see a lot of men, but I'm going to talk about women, is what do they forget to take care of the most? Themselves, right? And so I used to be one who took care of myself last. What I find is I get tired, I get sleepy, I get resentful, upset, I start complaining, and just being moody. And then something happened to me in 2018. I had breast cancer, the worst possible kind you can have. It was very aggressive. My journey took me 1.5 years of chemo, 6.5 months, a mastectomy, and then a week later had another surgery because I had a blood clot, and then I had radiation for 2 months, and then in December I had a hysterectomy, and then 2 more surgery in 2020. So as you can see, the last thing I wanted to do was take care of myself, but that's what I needed to do. I needed to be selfish. I found out that during that time, I was still worried about a lot of things. What would people think if they knew I had cancer? What would people think of me and this disease? Is it that bad? So I chose not to keep it within. I chose to welcome the world and let them help me. And that in turn took care of myself. So I let my kids take care of me. I let my husband take care of me. I had my family take care of me, my friends. And then the community opened. And I had 3 communities that I volunteer for who opened themselves and said, what do you need? And truthfully, I was kind of a little taken back as, I don't really need anything. My mom can cook for me and all this other stuff. And a neighbor came to me and said, Mimi, let them take care of you. So we always take ourselves for granted, and we always take care of ourselves last. Once I decided to change and fit things in that I love to do, I love to play competitive tennis. I love to sleep late. I love to watch movies whenever no one's looking. I love to be lazy once in a while. And I love to exercise. Well, I don't really love to exercise that much, but I do it because I know I have to do it. So it changed perspectives for me. I started to feel happy. I was not resentful. I stopped complaining. My attitude started to change. I felt more happy, and I was more grateful and humble to be living when I should have died. In turns, the things that you did not like before, you start seeing things a little bit more clearer. Because I exercise, I have the endorphins to actually feel good inside. And I know this because Laura Mayer Hill exercised with me in the mornings. So good things starts from coming out because you're consistent with yourself. You're consistent in exercising, you're consistent in loving yourself. And everything around you, your positive nature, sets off that fire, and people see that you love yourself. I find that you owe yourself to be selfish for yourself. Once you start loving and accepting who you are, things around you will look differently. Own yourself and learn what makes you happy. It took a while, but I see differently than my younger self. I started a foundation to help newly diagnosed cancer patients. I wanted to raise money to help those affected by cancer. I love myself. So then, people were coming and saying, how can we help? It gave me a special place because I know that the money will go to the cancer patient to help with their journey, with their financial journey, and with their emotional journey. And we've only been in business for a year and a half, and we have over $100,000 in our account to help cancer patients. That to me is so humble and grateful that people saw that the outcome of what I went through is a positive one, definitely. I started to love my job and everything about my job as a private banker at Frost. I would say 8 years ago, I probably wanted to find another job, but today, I'm happy where I am because I'm happy with myself. Things started to fall in place, and I would say I'm doing the best in the 8 years that I've been with Frost. I'm definitely more grateful in life, and I'm in love with my husband because we get to spend more time together, truly spend time with each other. So for those male out there, take your woman on a date because you gotta make them love you again. Otherwise, they may yell and complain at you. So what I'm saying is be selfish for you. Know what you want and give it to yourself. Once you're happy and you give yourself, you make everything around you happy. And happiness can come from exercise, meditation, anything you like to do. It could be reading, it could be playing with your kids. Just do what makes you happy. You only have one life, and it's short. It's a simple things. Enjoy it and be selfish for yourself. Happy International Women's Day to all, and thank you for your time today.